Miraidon, one of the best Pokemon in the format. No surprise there. We've seen many partners pair with Miraidon to great success, but one we don't see surprisingly is a Pokemon that's pretty good against opposing Miraidon, which is Zacian. So we're going to be trying out a Miraidon Zacian team that was able to do extremely well at the North American International Championship. This is Amelia Forbes' Day 2 North American International Championship team with Zacian Miraidon pair, which we don't commonly see, but Zacian is able to pressure opposing Miraidons that don't have Terastization and their Fairy Terra, then you can threaten them with the Behemoth Blade. Let's break it down. First up, we have the Crowned Form Zacian with the Rusted Sword and the Intrepid Sword, which gives it a +1 attack boost once per game, with the Stellar Terra type that is able to power up all its attacks, with the Iron Head, which turns into Behemoth Blade, the Play Rough, Sacred Sword, and Protect. It's a pretty standard Zacian. We don't commonly see it as much in the format ever since its nerf. However, it is an interesting pair because we don't commonly see it with Miraidon as much, but it does make a lot of sense being able to threaten the play rough immediately into opposing Miraidon while also having the Behemoth Blade to cover for the Terra Fairy option. So it is able to do quite a bit of damage across the board, be good into a lot of restricted such as Koraidon, Miraidon, general Pokemon that Miraidon might not enjoy, such as the Tinglu, able to hit the Xianpao and outspeed for some pretty heavy damage. It does do quite a bit of support here. And the Eevee spread, which is 156 speed with a Jolly Nature, which is the bare minimum in order to outspeed opposing base 135, such as opposing Miraidon, which is really important. That's what Zacian needs to do on this team. Decided not to run any more speed investment. He told me that he didn't want to play around with opposing Zacian speed wars because Zacian speeds can vary because there's not really anything in that nature other than opposing Zacians, and he didn't expect to fight many other than maybe like 1 or 2 Swordfish, so didn't want to deal with it. Just remaining the rest into max attack pretty much because he wants the damage output because this is an offensive team, and the remaining just goes into bulk. The Zacian, of course, really great typing, has gotten nerfed since Generation 8, but still can do a solid role with the coverage that it does have access to. Next up, we have the Choice Specs Miraidon with the Hadron Engine to summon the Electric Terrain and give the Miraidon special attack damage output, with the Fairy Terra type, which is able to help out against super effective Dragon type moves, making them immune, and powering up the Dazzling Gleam with Electric Drift, Volt Switch, Draco Mirror, Dazzling Gleam. I think we all know Choice Specs Miraidon, how strong it is in VGC, Electric Terrain, all the stat multipliers, etc. It's pretty much not much to say here. The Eevee spread does have quite a bit of speed on this Miraidon to outspeed Pokemon like Tornadus Incarnate, for example, and just be able to go for like some pretty fast Volt Switch, Electric Drift, and more. And it's utilizing a modest 196 investment that it does give an extra stat point to its special attack, and the rest having some HP to be able to tank attacks generally, while just being able to dish out as much damage as it possibly can while being a pretty fast one, even without the tailwind required. Next Pokemon we have the Mystic Water Urshifu with the Unseen Fist that allows its contact moves to hit through Protect, with the Terra Water type to power up its water type moves even further with Surging Strikes, Aqua Jet, Taunt, and Detect. Yeah, so we're seeing this Rapid Strike Urshifu before with the Mystic Water and the Taunt set and just double water type moves because you do have a fighting move on the Zacian, and you want to be able to make sure that your opponent, since this is a hyper offensive team, you don't really want them to get Trick Room up or set up anything. Taunt is just very disruptive at allowing you to taunt like an Amoonguss from being able to spore or redirect attacks with Rage Powder, taunting the ability to just go for the Trick Room with Cali Ice or Leech Seed and more. So having Taunt is just very disruptive to more defensive strategies where they might be able to tank one hit from your restricteds, and you want to make sure that they aren't able to capitalize off that turn with a setup move. Eevee spread wise, this Urshifu 244 attack, it really just dishes out as much damage as possible, and with the Surging Strikes with the Mystic Water is able to KO the Xianpao 100% of the time if they're just a 4 defense Xianpao. Then the rest 44 HP, a bit of bulk, 108 special defense so it can take on Astral Barrages from Calyx Shadow Rider, and 108 speed, which is able to speed creep some of the Pokemon such as like the max speed modest Raging Bolt. It is a Pokemon that is just pretty absurd on a Tailwind team and an offense team in general, able to help out the rest of the team hit the ground types that Miraidon and Zacian really do not appreciate. Next Pokemon we have is the Electric Seed for Rigrav, giving a +1 defense boost when the Electric Terrain is up, with the Armor Tail ability that is able to prevent any priority moves from affecting your side of the field, with the Water Terra type, which is able to help the Furgraf resist really strong Ice, Water, and Fire moves, with Psychic Noise, Foul Play, Helping Hand, and Trick Room. So this Farigiraf is pretty standard on a lot of the Miraidon teams because of the electric seed boost. It's good in the Kali Ice, be able to switch in. That foul play is able to do a lot of damage and is able to force some terrestrializations in some cases, which is pretty nice. The helping hand is able to boost the power of the Zacian Miraidon. It's really impressive into like slow passive leads, especially with fake out. Psychic Noise was an interesting choice, and I was actually talking to him and debating about Psychic versus Psychic Noise, and he decided to finalize Psychic Noise because he wanted to make sure that it was really good into not only like Pollen Puffamungus, but mainly the Leech Seed Calyx Ice Rider that has popped up in the format. So you can go for Psychic Noise, prevent the healing from the Kali Ice, and that could be huge. And of course, it does help out in like some matchups like the Terrapagos, Grassy Terrain Leftovers, or the Hospitality stuff. And for the EV spread, the 180 HP just allows the Farigiraf to always be able to survive a final gambit from Annihilate, a lot of physical defense with the bold nature, and then the rest remaining going into special defense, so it can just be able to tank attacks across the board and be a support Pokemon that's able to stick around on the field. Next Pokemon we have is the Focus Sash Whimsicott, which allows it to be able to live one strong hit with the Prankster ability that gives a +1 priority to any of its non-attacking moves with the Ghost Terror type, which is able to help out against Fake Out, which we don't commonly see on the Covert Cloak sets, but with the Focus Sash sets, it's pretty common. You have Moonblast, Tailwind, Encore, and Protect. So it's a pretty standard Focus Sash Whimsicott. Focus Sash has definitely been less used over the Covert Cloak generally, but Focus Sash still makes a lot of sense because this Whimsicott is able to survive one really powerful attack and stick around on the field, which is pretty important in a lot of cases because you're not really generally running a lot of bulk on this team. So Focus Sash having a way to just guarantee survive one strong hit can be pretty impactful. Moonblast for really heavy chip damage, especially off a max special attack with Whimsicott, allows it to actually get some pretty solid damage. Tailwind is able to help with speed control. Encore, that is just able to disrupt your opponent, and Protect, so you can potentially get multiple Tailwind turns, and it can be very useful for stalling out things from your opponent. EV spread wise, it's a Focus Sash Whimsicott, just running max speed, max special attack, and 4 HP. Not much to say. Final Pokemon on this team is the Choice Scarf Chi-Yu with the Beads of Ruin that's able to lower the special defense of all Pokemon on the field that isn't the Chi-Yu, with the Ghost Terror type, which is able to just help out against Fake Outs and extreme speeds with Heat Wave, Overheat, Snarl, and Flamethrower. Across the board, Scarf Chi-Yu is able to threaten Pokemon, especially the Calyx Shatters, Almazenta cores. It's really impressive. The Beads of Ruin just helps the damage output with the Miraidon, so you can get some KOs that they might not expect or they EV'd for instance, like a lot of the Kali Ices do live Electro Drift in terrain, but with the Beads of Ruin, that calc completely changes. Stuff like a Solvus and Incineroar being able to survive it. There are quite a few calcs that Beads of Ruin just makes, and of course, since this is an offensive team, that you want to be able to push the damage output and get the knockouts before they can knock you out. So being able to push the advantage and mess up calcs with the Beads of Ruin makes a lot of sense paired with this Miraidon build. And it's just able to do a ton of damage. You got triple fire move, which is the interesting choice here. Heat Wave for the strong spread attack. Overheat, of course, is just such a strong move, especially with the Beads of Ruin lowering their special defense. The Snarl, that's able to help out against like Calyx Shadow Rider and Redirection. And then Flamethrower, because he wanted a guaranteed way to be able to hit something in endgames and make sure he wasn't missing. So, and didn't need the Dark Pulse specifically. EV spread wise, max special attack, max speed, 4 HP. It's an HO team. It is able to outspeed the Calyx Shadow Rider, and that's pretty much what it needs to do. Hit as hard as possible. What else to say about Scarf Chi-Yu? So how to use the team? It is a very offensive team. You want to do damage. That is basically the goal. Get knockouts as quickly as you possibly can. You do have quite a few things that do allow you to do that. The Miraidon with the Choice Specs damage output. Chi-Yu does have really good type coverage into a lot of the common Pokemon, and with the Beads of Ruin paired with Miraidon can really just allow for some really big knockouts. The Zacian Crown, if positioned and not intimidated, it can pick up really strong KOs with its fantastic type coverage across the board, and it is able to do a lot. Urshifu, of course, in Trick Room or under Tailwind can put on a lot of pressure utilizing the Surging Strikes with the Mystic Water and the Terra Water. And of course, you do have the Whimsicott that is able to support with the Tailwind and Encore to be disruptive, as well as the Farigiraf that's able to prevent like any priority moves or Fake Out from affecting the field, while being able to reverse Trick Room and just play that mind game. You have a lot of different leads, of course. The Miraidon Chiyu, the Miraidon Urshifu, Miraidon Whimsicott, Miraidon Farigiraf. You can lead Miraidon with anything. Miraidon Zacian in some cases. Urshifu can always lead, of course, with the Surge Strikes pressure, under Tailwind, next to Farigiraf, and more. You can pretty much lead a lot of different combos with this team, but the main point is to either set up for some really strong damage and get the knockouts, or in a position to disrupt the opponent and then try to find a way to bring in your heavy hitters to get the KOs. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And let me know in the comments down below, do you think they nerfed Zacian a bit too hard? Because I think Zacian didn't need both the attack drop and the base stat attack drop at the same time with the Intrepid Sword change, when Ogerpon still has like the same thing that it could do and switch out and get the boost again, which I think is very unnecessary. And then also the attack drop. I feel like there are a lot of Pokemon, even with like 170 attack or 170 special attack, like Kyurem White, that also have fallen off kind of just because of the lack that it can do really in the format. So let me know what your thoughts are about the Zacian nerf down below in the comments. Do you think it was fair? Do you think it was justified? Do you think it was overkill? But let's get started and play some games. All right, we have Tornadus, Smeargle, Incineroar, Rillaboom, Calyx, Shower, Zamazenta, and they also have the team that won. Well, actually, no, Incineroar didn't win Japan. That's what's the Incineroar replacing again? It's Rillaboom, Smeargle, Torn, Raging Bolt. They don't have a Raging Bolt, which actually makes the matchup probably easier for me. Okay, Chiyu's really good against this general stuff. I could go with Farigiraf, or I could go with Whimsicott. Both are decent options. I kinda, since they have double or triple fake out, probably I do like Farigiraf a bit more, but I think Tailwind is better. I think I like Whimsicott Chiyu. It puts on a good amount of offensive pressure against their team. And then I like Miraidon and Zacian back. I want to keep Miraidon in back because there's a Smeargle lead, and I want to have electric terrain set up after the grassy terrain if possible, because I don't want Spore happening. So let's see. Alex Rillaboom, yeah, this is a pretty good lead for me, I'd say. Almost debating about tearing my Whimsicott and going for the Moonblast, but I don't think that's ever worth the play here. I think we just go for a Heat Wave. Yeah, I think we go for a Protect and Heat Wave. Actually, they never fake out Whims, right? No, they never fake out Whims. They fake out the Chiyu. They could protect the Calyx, which is fine. I'm gonna Moonblast Heat Wave. Yeah, you should. Since this is close team sheet, they should never fake out the potential Covert Cloak on the Whimsicott. I'm going for Heat Wave plus Moonblast to care for a Terra Dark. They could just U-turn here. They could Woodhammer my Chiyu, I suppose, and protect, which is also fair, but I really am going to switch out. So it's Incineroar coming in, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I also have Terra Ghost Encore that I can lock into, so that's perfectly acceptable. Yeah, they just protect. So I get some free damage into the Incineroar, I guess. Yeah, some free damage. Moonblast gonna go into the Calyx. I mean, isn't my play here just a Heat Wave here? I'm pretty sure it's just a Heat Wave and Encore the Shadow Rider. They retreat Shadow Rider, that makes sense, but whatever's coming in is taking a Heat Wave, which they do not appreciate. Yeah, if they go Rilla, this is fine. I guess they could fake out the Chiyu, but like, does this accomplish too much? I mean, I guess he could fake out Cycle, which is whatever to me, I think, because I can get quite a bit done here. They're probably not Flare Blitz instant at this point. I'm going to Encore to Rilla, and I'm just going to swap to Miraidon, I think. Because I want Chiyu to still have Scarf. I don't think I need specs nearly as much on my Miraidon as I do Scarf on the Chiyu, just to outspeed. I'll bring in Miraidon if they decide to fake out knockoff or go for fake out parting. That's fine with me. Yep, they fake out. I get an Encore off. So now the Rilla is just trapped in, locked into fake out, which is pretty bad for them. And they go for parting shot, so this is super ideal. Okay. Because now Rillaboom is just a free Volt Switch target. And I can Moonblast the Shadow Rider slot. Yep, Shadow Rider comes in. I'm going to go for Moonblast into the Shadow Rider, and I'm going to click Volt Switch into the Rilla. This is probably instant protect, or they actually go on the offense and throw off an Astral here. They do retreat the Rilla into the instant. Like, are you going to risk your Shadow Rider? Because if you risk your Shadow Rider and you lose it, you're in a bad spot. So let's see. They do just protect. Okay, that's fine. I get huge damage to instant with the Volt Switch. I'm curious, like, the thing is they're playing super passively, and I mean super passively. I want to go Chiyu. Like, I think the play is just to go for Heat Wave plus Protect. If they fake out Astral Barrage, just a super risky play. Because they still don't know my item on Whimsicott. I can still Encore threaten the Shadow Rider. They saw I have Encore. They could go for Terra Dark, I suppose. But if they go for Terra Dark, I do have a lock. And they do swap out the Calyrex. Is this in a Rill again? Are we going to play the same game? It's like that fish meme from SpongeBob. Okay. As we protect. Okay. I missed a Heat Wave and I missed a Rillaboom. So that could have been a very big Heat Wave, but unfortunate. You go for Parting Shot. It's a very annoying one to miss. Because I could have spammed Gleam to clean up this end game. Calyx in. Okay, this is actually kind of bad. Do I have to Terra Ghost here? I might have to. That's such a bad miss. I need to ensure Tailwind goes up. I'm just going to Heat Wave and Tailwind with Terra Ghost. The reason I'm going to make this Terra Ghost play is because of the fact that I need Tailwind up or I'm just straight up losing to the Shadow Rider. If they go for Fake Out, Astral Barrage, and the Chiyu, that's fine. But I'm worried if they target the Whims here. Alright, no Fake Out. I get Tailwind up. That's acceptable. Please get the Heat Wave damage. Good damage. I crit the Rillaboom in response, so I guess there's some justice here. Okay. Okay. What did they do? Astral? That's fine. Okay. Good turn. Good turn. Could have been better. I could have Moonblasted. Or I could have just I got the Tailwind and non-Terra, but this still works out pretty well for me. Okay. I want to save Whims, I think, in general. Yeah, I want to say Whims in general. So they still have a Zamazenta in the back. They go Zamazenta, that's fine. I had the bait here. I think I want to go Zacian, right? I feel like Zacian doesn't do that much in the remainder parts of this game. Unless it's Terra Dragon on the Zamazenta. Could be grass though. They're taking their time to think about it. Also, it wasn't Life Orb Calyrex, right? I don't think it was. Yeah, Zamazenta comes in. They're probably going to wide guard, which is fine. Gonna swap out into Zacian. If they double attack my Zacian, that's fine. I get a free switch to Miraidon, and then I just spam Electro Drift, so that's acceptable here. Want to keep Whimsicott around so I can threaten Encore the future turns. Yeah. And I do have Encore pins available to me right now, so that's at least good. I'm kind of curious on what the Shadow Rider is, because it's not Life Orb, which is kind of huge, but are you Terra Dark or not? Because that's a big one. Zacian comes in, gets the Intrepid Sword. And we get a Protect on the Whimsicott as they go for a Calm Mind. How'd you lock into Calm Mind? I'm pretty sure I just Encore you and... Well, I guess not yet. So it's Calm Mind, which is interesting. And they go for Heavy Slam into Whims. Sure. I have 2 turns of Tailwind though, and I have Behemoth Blade access. They should protect into Heavy Slam here. It could also go Incin or the Zamazenta and protect Shadow Rider, so I'm gonna go for... Well, do they even have access to that? I don't even know. If it's Calm Mind, it's probably Draining Kiss. Which means they can't tear at a Calyrex, which is massive. There's a lot that could go interesting here. I do bring out the Chiyu so I can have some offensive pressure with Sacred Sword. They do protect the Shadow Rider like always, and I'm pretty sure this is Heavy Slam into Whims, which means the Chiyu's safe, which is good. I do get the Sacred Sword off into Zamazenta for some pretty heavy damage, and they go for Heavy Slam, which is nowhere near enough. Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to bank them getting a double protect. I could just Flamethrower Behemoth Blade here, which works. I could also Flamethrower to Calyrex and Sacred Sword to Zama, but I think I'm going to take the knockout into Calyrex if they give me the opportunity. If you retreat to Calyrex, I'm pretty sure Incineroar goes down, and even if you take the knockout into Chiyu, I still get Whimsicott and I still have Tailwind pressure, so this is fine. They do sack the Incineroar. Also, Incineroar was lower than I remember, but that's perfect. Oh, we see Terrasization from Zama, so this is perfect. That means I don't have to worry about like some random Terra Dark Calm Mind Shadow Rider. It is Terra Dragon on the Zama, but that's fine. I went for Flamethrower into the Incin slot. I went for the double in case they switch in Incin on the other slot for Intimidate. Hoping to live the Heat Wave into Behemoth Blade, which I don't think they did. So, yeah. Good. Get a Behemoth Blade off. Good damage and body press, and they target Zacian. Okay. I guess everything's in range of... I mean, is there a way I could lose? I don't think so. If I had Dark Pulse, I'd be able to lock this game 100%, but I don't have Dark Pulse. Shadow Rider in. I mean, I think I just Flamethrower to Shadow Rider, and I think I just go for Play Rough into Zama. I guess I could Protect here. There's nothing wrong with Protect. No, there's nothing wrong with Protecting. I want to make sure I don't lose. I don't bring in Miraidon and Whimsicott the same field and then lose to some miss or mind game, which I think could happen. As I get the Flamethrower off into the Shadow Rider. Really big damage. They go for Astral. Does this even knock out Chiyu? The first one was pretty weak. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay. Go for Body Press to KOs, but that's fine. Now I just go Miraidon. Miraidon super safe. I can go for Electro Drift into the... Well, I guess this is still kind of a weird mind game. Do I have a way I guarantee to lock this? I think I do. I'm pretty sure it's like Electric Drift, or Volt Switch to Calyrex and swap out into Whims. Because I'm like, okay, you're gonna body press here with the Zom, unless you want to make a hard rain and protect, which is fine too. If I switch out my Zacian, because like here's the thing, a crit Astral Barrage doesn't knock out my Miraidon at this range, which is the big part, which means that Miraidon always gets an attack off. If they go for protect with the Shadow Rider, I can encore the Shadow Rider the next turn. If they KO my Whimsicott, my Miraidon's still healthy and I can still get an attack off. If they target my Miraidon and protect, again, the encore situation, so I'm pretty chill with that. They go for Astral Barrage. They take the knockout into my Whimsicott, but I'm taking the knockout into their Shadow Rider, so that's fine. Unless it's almost max speed, but I highly doubt it. Yep, I got the Volt Switch off. Okay, perfect. All right. So Shadow Rider goes down. They can clean my Zacian with Body Press, but I think that was worth it. Wish I could Volt Switch into Whims instead, but I did that because I think it still works out in the long term. Yeah, they KO the Zacian. I have to go for Draco, right? I think it depends on how many Electric Rain turns. I guess I could go for Triple Protect. Electric Drift should easily KO the Zacian or the Zamazenta. I have 4 turns. Yeah, I'm just Electric Drifting. I'm like very confident Electric Drift KOs. They're gonna protect the Scout for what move I lock into, because if I go for Gleam Lock, they can go for Wide Guard. So I always Electric Drift here, because Electric Drift in terrain should easily KO the Zamazenta at this range. Yeah, like I don't see them living that. So I am going to go for Electric Drift. I mean, they're going to go for 4 protects. If it was triple protect, I'd be scared. But 4 protects is super unlikely. And if they get it, shows my luck, right? It shows my luck. So we go for Electric Drift into the Zama. And I think we're in a very nice, secure spot. They don't even go for 4 protects. Okay, so I get Electric Drift off. And I KO the Zamazenta. Yeah, exactly what I thought. Okay, beautiful. All right, a bit closer. We did get a crit, but that was after a miss on the Heat Wave. So you know what? I mean, I'm taking it because I would have 2-shot that Rilla without it anyway. So definitely will take it. Was able to put on a good amount of pressure. Also, I don't know what that Shadow Rider set was, because if it was Calm Mind, it's just not doing any damage. It didn't look like Spell Tag Eater. It didn't look like Leftovers. I'm curious on what the item was. Maybe it was Covert Cloak for all I know, but yeah. They played super passive and they took a bunch of damage. Even though I didn't get the immediate knockouts, I was still in a really good offensive position because they couldn't get knockouts onto my side of the field with how passive, like, what they were doing. Miraidon, Groudon, Volcarona, Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, and Fluttermane. Where was the Covert Cloak? I'm pretty sure the Covert Cloak was on Grim. I mean, there's so many versions of this team. Let me figure out how to play against this. I'm kind of fine leaning Chiyu Whimsicott here. Chiyu Whimsicott's alright. I think we're gonna lead Chi Whimsicott offensively. Groudon's a really bad matchup because I don't have Rain and I don't really have the best tools to take on Groudon. So this is gonna be unfortunate. If this is Light Screen with Assault as Groudon, yeah, this is gonna be super tough. Gonna be super tough. Let's see what they lead here. Groudon Grimmsnarl, that makes sense. If it's Light Screen, this is already looking pretty bad, but I will go for... Did I just rip the Terra immediately? Do I need the Terra for anything in this matchup specifically? I don't think so. The Zacian Stellar Terra doesn't change anything, and I think I'd rather have the type on my other mons. Yeah. We're gonna go for Terra Ghost Overheat, because if this is Fake Out Grim, and I kind of do remember something about Fake Out Grim, I'd be able to get the Overheat off, which is huge, and I'm gonna Moonblast the Grim. Let's see if I'm right. I don't think I live Precipice Blades if I Terra, if I'm not mistaken, but I guess it depends on the Groudon set. If they Terra Fire, they're vulnerable to Electro Drift, which makes my life so much easier, but we'll see. So we'll Terrastalize our Chi-Yu into Ghost. I don't think this is Sucker Punch Grim. I'm trying to go off memory, but we'll see. We see a Terrastalization on their side. This is probably the Groudon. Yeah, so I mean, they're forced to Terrastalize, which isn't terrible for me. This means they don't have any switches to like Electro Drift or Draco Meteor anymore, so that's decent. They do reveal the light screen, okay. As I overheat the Groudon. That actually still did some pretty good damage, so that's definitely not Assault Vest. Big Moonblast into the Grim, decent damage. Special attack drop as they go for a high horsepower. Does that KO? Oh. I think I just overheat the Grim. Do I Encore? I might Encore. Or do I just double up the Grim and ensure? No, I think I Tailwind. I think I Tailwind overheat. I get the Tailwind up and then I can dress in Moonblast plus attacks, which I think is good. They Thunderwave the Whimsicott, which is fine. Okay. So I KO the Grimmsnarl with the overheat, which is nice. The next turns are going to be a bit painful. Heat Crash with the Fire Terra is fine because I do have a Sash. Okay. Wait, I can Encore you into Heat Crash. Encore into Heat Crash sounds good. Although if I get paralyzed, I'm in a bad spot, but I think it's worth it. Is Miraidon coming in? They went Incineroar. Interesting. We're going to overheat the Groudon and we're going to protect our Whimsicott, I suppose. I wish I could Encore the Groudon, but they probably just fake out my Chi-Yu here. Or, I mean, fake out my Wims, but they didn't fake out my Wims, which is surprising. Okay. If you Heat Crash, I'm fine with locking you into Heat Crash. I am fine with locking you into Heat Crash. A U-turn, that's fine. All right, we bring out Miraidon. We Encore the Groudon into the Heat Crash. And we Electro Drift the Incin. They could protect, they could swap. Both of those options are fine here. As long as I threaten the big damage into their partners, it's okay. They don't have Reflect Up. I like the idea of this Encore a lot into the Groudon. I don't know if they'll switch or not. They don't. I could have Volt Switch too, but I was worried about a Flare Blitz play, but this works out pretty well. As I get the Electro Drift into the Incin. Oh, that's a nice crit, actually. That's a nice crit. Because I KO the Incin, that means my Whimsicott's still on the field. And I can go for the KO and the Groudon, and I don't have to worry about Intimidate. So I can just go for Play Rough. I mean, I still have to hit a Play Rough into the slot, but I'll definitely take it. I'll definitely take it. Okay. I still think, like, no matter what, that play was still right for me. It also depends on what the Incin did. Like, if they U-turned greedily into Miraidon or they knocked off, they were in actually a bad spot, but I have no clue. We will Electro Drift the Groudon, and we are going to go for a Moonblast also into Groudon. Or not into Groudon, into the Miraidon as we lock into Electro Drift. Here's the thing. It depends on what this Miraidon is. It could be Scarf, but Scarf shouldn't KO Zacian. We KO the Groudon. The Miraidon can't Terra anymore. They lock in the Gleam? That should be Specs. And if it's Specs Miraidon, that means my Zacian should just guarantee a win. Because even if we miss a play rough, we can go for multiple. Or do I just go for multiple Sacred Swords? I think I'd rather just play rough first because the Gleam should not be doing that much damage anyway. Especially because there's only... No, there's like 2 turns of electric terrain, right? Or is there 3? There's 3 turns. I'm not risking them having setup though on the Miraidon, but I'm pretty sure their choice. I'm gonna be forfeited. Okay. So was it the greatest start? No. Was it an okay mid game? Yes. Was the crit fortunate? Yes. It just depends on what the Incineroar did. Like, did it U-turn my Whimsicott? Did it U-turn or knock off my Miraidon? Did they Flare Blitz trying to read a Volt Switch into Zacian? That could be an option as well. I don't know. Alright, we have Calyx, Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, Urshifu, Torn, Rillaboom, and Amoonguss. So, no Incineroar is always actually pretty good to see on this team. They are definitely bringing the rain mode because they're extremely weak to Chi-Yu if they don't. Alright. Do I want to go Ferrograph game plan here or not? Because Ferrograph is of course good into like the Torn Ursh general stuff, but I'm not 100% certain. I do like... I don't mind leading Miraidon here. Yeah, I don't mind leading Miraidon. I think Miraidon plus Whimsicott's actually pretty decent with Zacian Chi-Yu back. Because like my ideal situation is to KO the Torn as quickly as possible if they lead it. But then again, I guess maybe they could have Torn back. But I think like Miraidon's an okay lead because like the things that like do well against Miraidon are like Rillaboom, Shadow Rider, which is fine. Yep, they lead Torn Ursh. They lead Torn Ursh. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So I'm actually going to go for a Moonblast and I'm going to go for a Volt Switch into the Torn immediately because I want to pressure the Torn slot because once I go to Torn, that's huge. I don't think they can really sacrifice much here because if they sacrifice a lot... Actually, I could just Volt Switch the Ursh. Oh man, there's so many places I have here. I like the idea of Volt Switching into Torn, but I could trap into Encore potentially as well. But I kind of like the idea of Volt Switch and Moonblast the Torn. If it's Sash, I want to get rid of it. They just Tailwind immediately and stay in with the Ursh. Is it U-turned? Oh, they Surging Strikes to Miraidon. Okay, I don't know. I guess they're in such a desperate spot. I'm assuming it's like Zamazenta plus the, what's it called? Calyx back. And I'm assuming they don't have Protect. Or they don't have a defensive Terra, so they're kind of still in a screwed spot. Able to get a Moonblast off in the Torn as well as a Volt Switch into the Torn immediately. So Torn does go down. Okay. How offensive do I think the Shadow Rider is? I could go Zacian or I could go Chi-Yu here. I think I would want to go Zacian. I'd probably bring out Shadow Rider, I'd assume. I get my attack raise. This is Shadow Rider coming in. I'd be shocked if not. I think the main goal here is... It depends on the terrestrialization of the Zamazenta, I think, and the Shadow Rider item. I can't tell how offensive the Shadow Rider build is. It could be like a nasty plot Life Orb set. It could be Sash. Shadow Rider is going to come in. Yep, that's not too surprising. I get my Tailwind up here, so I have an extra turn of Tailwind to take advantage of. I think I want to play rough the Ursh and Tailwind. Yeah, I'm going to Tailwind and play rough the Ursh. This might not be the right call. It depends on items too. If this is Sash Shadow Rider and they Terra the Ursh, it's actually kind of a weird spot. So even though I got with a Torn, which prevents Rain Dance, which would have been annoying for Chi-Yu, I didn't think they would let the Ursh do that. I thought like maybe they'd protect the Ursh, maybe get Tailwind up, and if Torn went down, they would try to get in this spot for free, but it doesn't work. Ooh, wait, what? They protect a Shadow Rider in this position? It has to be Terra Dark Life Orb, right? Because that's insane to do that in front of an Encore Whimsicott that you can't get rid of. I do get a play rough into the Ursh. It is Sash, which is not too surprising. I'm assuming they're... So the Shadow Rider can't be Sash. That's really big to note. They go for Surging Strikes. Okay. I have 2 turns of Tailwind. I have 3 turns of Tailwind. It has to be, right? It has to be Terra Dark. I think I'm gonna make a bit of a wild play here. I feel like it has to be Terra Dark if you make that play. I'm making a crazy play. They are going to Terra. I think this is Terra Dark always with Astral Barrage. Yeah. Like they had to. There was no way it wasn't. Okay, so preserving Whimsicott's good here. And now this upcoming turn will be interesting, to say the least. I will protect my Whims. Because they jet Astral. Yeah, exactly. Like, I was debating about like how I get around this Astral Barrage position. Oh, I think this is a Life Orb, right? Because Terra Dark usually always runs a Life Orb. Maybe Spell Tag, but I assume it's Life Orb. If it's Life Orb, that means it takes chip, which means it should be put in Overheat range. Please be Life Orb. Yes, okay. Now we can go into Chiyu. And we can go for Terra Ghost Overheat into the Shadow Rider. And Moonblast the Urshifu. So we're going to go for Terra Ghost Overheat. And we're going to go for Moonblast into Urshifu. Okay. So I'm glad I kind of read that. Because I knew that their best play was to go for Aqua Jet. And the Protect was just so weird in that position. It's like it screamed it had to be Terra Dark afterward. And I'm glad I got those numbers right. I'm pretty sure that Overheat should KO the Calyrex after that Life Orb chip. And if it's bulky... they'll go down at least, and then it's gonna be like Miraidon Ursh endgame. They do go for the Aqua Jet into my Chiyu. I guess I didn't have to Terrasilize, but I don't need Terrasalization on. Maybe I do. Okay, yeah, I do. I do just cook the Shadow Rider like I thought I did. Luckily, we landed the Overheat. We KO the Shadow Rider. Beautiful, and Moonblast will KO the Ursh, and then I'll have a guaranteed way to seal up this endgame. So perfect. As he. Oh, looks like my battery is pretty low. Moonblast does KO to Urshifu. Excellent. And now this is the Zamazenta coming out. And unless it's not Zamazenta, but if it's not Zamazenta, it's one of the grass types. So that makes you just lose. Yeah. So I just always protect my Whimsicott. I switch out my Chiyu into the Miraidon and I guarantee win here. Because then I can reset for the Flamethrower. They have to heavy slam to touch the Chiyu. If they go for body press in the Miraidon, all I have to do is encore them. Then they can't touch my Chiyu. I spam Flamethrower, I win. If they go for heavy slam, I just encore them in the heavy slam. Then I just spam Electro Drift and I win the game. So perfect end game situation. I'm really glad I thought about that end game because the Aqua Jet plus the Aqua Jet there plus the Astral Barrage, because I was like, okay, what are you doing by setting this up? Like, I was trying to figure out what they were setting up board state wise, and to me, if they were going for Protect Surging, that means they were fully reliant on Shadow Rider to KO the next turn, which meant they had to have some tech for the Encore, which was Terra Dark, which is not too surprising, but it just helped out because I was able to read that situation and plan accordingly and set up a really good endgame for Chiyu, because that Life Orb chip into Overheat range ended up being really ideal, and having Whimsicott meant that I could, one, outspeed the Urshifu, but B, I also had a backup for like certain situations because I wasn't forced to lock in Miraidon, because let's say Shadow Rider survives the Overheat and they get an Astral Barrage, they get a double KO. Miraidon could maybe still win the endgame against Ursh Zamazenta, but it's like read heavy. My Electric Terrain disappears, but yeah, I think that gave me the best odds. All right, we have Zamazenta, Ho-Oh, Chien Pao, Raging Bolt, Tinglu, and Iron Valiant. Okay, this is definitely going to be an interesting one. Matchup wise, like my Zacian pairs really well other than against a Ho-Oh, but I do have a Miraidon and Ursh for forcing terastization into Ho-Oh, so a lot of things that could go on here. Trying to think of what I would want to lead here potentially. I probably want to lead. I would like Tailwind up immediately. I think I'm just gonna lead Whimsicott Ursh. I think Whimsicott Ursh is fine for the most part. Because like the leads that beat that would be involving Pokemon that would just lose to Miraidon lead. It's kind of weird because I think it's like, okay, do I expect them to lead their counters to Miraidon, or do I expect them to lead like the Pokemon that are weak to Miraidon but better against like maybe Zacian or Miraidon? And it's tricky, but I think that Ursh puts on so much offensive pressure immediately into a lot of Pokemon that I'm a little bit scared of. So let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. Lead wise is going to be Ho-Oh and Raging Bolt. Okay, that makes sense as a lead here for my opponent. Okay. Actually, no, this loses to Raging Bolt or Miraidon. Okay. I don't know if they Tailwind with Ho or just Sacred Fire. If I get burned, that would actually be really annoying off the bat. I think I'm just going to go for Moonblast Stone Detect. I don't see anything too wrong with this play. We actually force a Terastization turn 1, which is interesting. So I wonder if it's the Ho-Oh. No, it's the Raging Bolt. So they can't Terra the Ho-Oh anymore. That's interesting. Okay. So the Raging Bolt will go for Terra Electric, which means I can hit it later for some pretty heavy damage with Surging. It can't switch into Surging Strikes, and there's a few other things. They go for Thunderclap immediately. That's such a risk. Okay. Moonblast comes out in the Raging Bolt. Is Assault Vest? Okay. Sacred Fire. Do I get burned? No, I don't. Okay. Interesting. I'm actually going to go for Encore into the Raging Bolt, and I'm going to go out into Miraidon. Because if the Raging Bolt's stuck locked in the Thunderclap, that's not that big of a deal for me. I'm just trying to debate on who I'm going to try to catch which switch the next turn. I'm going for Encore into the Raging Bolt, so it's locked in the Thunderclap, which is pretty useless against my team. And then we'll have a pretty nice pin, I think, the next turn. As we bring out our Miraidon, which should be able to take Sacred Fire or Brave Bird or whatever the Ho-Oh wants to throw off. Because I think they would probably expect like an Aqua Jet coming out in the future. But we'll get an Encore off. Thunderclap's going to fail. The Ho-Oh can go for an attack here. I don't know what's going to go for. Thunderclap going to come out into the whatever because it fails. And they go for Brave Bird and target down my Whimsicott. That makes sense. So Whimsicott goes down. Perfectly fine. Now I bring out Urshifu. And I am just gonna go for Terra Water. I don't see a need for Stellar Terra in this game. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for the Terra Water. I'm gonna go for Aqua Jet into the... I want to say it's Aqua Jet to Raging Bolt and also go for a Dazzling Gleam or Volt Switch. I think it's just go for... I think it's Volt Switch. Yeah. Because if they go Ting Lu and Protect a Hole, that's fine. They actually aggressively play this. Okay. This is a very aggressive play that they're making. But I do get the Terra Water Aqua Jet off plus a Volt Switch. If I don't KO, it's actually probably still fine. Oh, they Protect the... Wait, I could have just Aqua Jet though. That's free damage I could have gotten, but sure. I do get the Aqua Jet off, so they won't get a Thunderclap. And I get a free Volt Switch off. Okay. Maybe I should have Electro Drifted. I mean, this is still fine. The Zacian is still in a good spot. I can go for Aqua Jet and I can go for Sacred Sword double up. Or I could Aqua Jet Protect. Both work. Or I guess I could Aqua Jet the Ho-Oh and Protect. But the thing is, I don't know if it's Tailwind Ho-Oh. Because they could Tailwind this turn. I think I'm going to Aqua Jet. Nah, I don't think they would. They would probably Sacred Fire. I think they need the damage. I'm going to Protect and Aqua Jet. They retreat the Raging Bolt, which makes sense. I don't know what's coming in. Maybe Zamazenta. Yeah, Zamazenta comes in. That's fine. Because I do get a pretty nice Aqua Jet off into the Ho-Oh. And if they don't Sacred Fire, they don't put me in Body Press range. They might Braper, but if they Braper, that's fine. That's good damage to Ho-Oh. Jeez, I could have doubled it, actually. Oh, they did Tailwind. Okay, interesting. But they're punished by Aqua Jet now. So are they going to swap and sack? They don't have any good switches. So I'm going to Aqua Jet and I'm just going to Sacred Sword. I could double Protect here, I suppose, but that does give them momentum. Like, I don't want them switching to Raging Bolt and then it becomes bad. Yeah, I think this is fine. Because I assume it's Ting... Is it Ting-Lu or Qianpao back? I'm trying to figure that out, but they can't Terra anymore. My Ursh is really good with Aqua Jet pressure. They have to respect the Ursh slot a lot. We're going to see the swap out into... That's Ting-Lu, I think. Oh, that's Iron Valiant coming out. Interesting. Okay. Am I worried about Valiant? Not really. I do get an Aqua Jet off. Let's see if this 2-shot's Valiant. It might. It does not. Okay. Iron Defense is fine because I do have Sacred Sword. Beautiful. Okay, I didn't give them any free opportunities, which is nice, but this is still a weird endgame situation. Wait. Well, it's not Miraidon on this. They are probably Booster Energy. Last turn Electric Terrain. I don't want to fall for Encore shenanigans. Body Press gets a KO on something on my team. Maybe it's Detect Ursh and just go for a Behemoth Blade. I think you have to respect the Ursh slot. Like, I really think you do. But maybe they Encore me into Aqua Jet. Yeah, and then they Body Press the Zacian. That's not good. Does this live? Ah. Alright, I think... I should have played more aggressive against the Ho-Oh. I should have played it more aggressive against the Ho-Oh. I think it was just really unlikely that they sack Ho-Oh there. I think if I click Surging into the Iron Valiant, I think I won the game. Like, when the Ho-Oh was switching out. So I think that was my biggest mistake. I didn't play this aggressive enough. Like, I needed to go more on the offense. I wasn't sure about the Encore, but then again, since I did go for the Protect play, I thought they were going to Body Press my Ursh, but I think the play that they made just makes 100% sense. I think our out is... We don't have an out. We would need them to misclick, I think. Yeah, we need them to misclick. You go for Icy Wind. Oh, that... Body Press Miraidon, right? Yeah. I get why they went for the Icy Window, because that puts me in... That means my Urshifu's now... Well, actually, is my Urshifu still slower than Raging Bolt? I'd assume so. I get the KO on Zama. It doesn't change much because I'm pretty sure that I'm losing to the Raging Bolt. They might also go Ho-Oh to help ensure that, but I mean, this is okay. Because it could be a Thunderclap mind game potentially. Raging Bolt. It depends on, I guess, if they have any speed on the Raging Bolt, because if they don't have any speed, maybe Ursh could outspeed. Although I think I would still lose anyway. Let's see how confident they are. Okay, I think they do have enough speed to outspeed Ursh after the Icy Wind. They Encore. I don't know why they Encored here. I was going off a chance that they were baiting me, switch out the Raging Bolt to Icy Wind again into Ho-Oh, which is what I was going for. Well, if I'm going on the fact that I'm just hoping that Raging Bolt is slower anyway, don't I just Aqua Jet the Valiant slot anyway? I think I do. Yeah, they outspeed. Okay, so a lot of this was the Ho-Oh switch was probably a bit obvious and I needed to hard read capitalize. I think that was basically the main part here. I didn't push my advantage enough and gave them an opportunity to get a switch into Valiant, which I surprised was Valiant back because I was like really expecting like Ting Lu in the back. But I guess like their matchup was like just a bit weak to Zacian in general, that they brought Valiant because at least they could outspeed and Encore threat to me, I suppose. So maybe that was something to consider, because like I thought the back was Ting Lu and I felt like, oh, I had a really good setup with Aqua Jet and stuff, but it did not work out as much as I wanted. Also, Aqua Jet did so much. I could have just Aqua Jet and went for Behemoth Blade, and that could have actually worked out pretty well, but it did not, unfortunately. All right, we have Kyogre, Calyx, Ice Rider, Amoonguss with Whimsicott, Urshifu, and Incineroar. All right, so Electric Terrain will go up in this game. That's not too much of a problem. I do like Miraidon a lot as a lead. I'm trying to figure out what else I'm leading here. What else I'm even bringing? It's probably like Miraidon Ursh, because I can taunt and Volt Switch, which is really nice. I do like the Ursh option with Miraidon. I think Farigiraf and Zacian are pretty good as well. Whimsicott, I don't think I need to Tailwind up. They do have their own Whimsicott, which is surprising. I'm kind of curious if this is Trick Room Whimsicott or if they're for some reason just max speed Calyx Ice Rider for Tailwind. Maybe it could be a thing. We'll see. We'll see. They lead Whimsicott plus Cali Ice. It's either a Light Screen or Tailwind, and we'll figure it out, I suppose. Don't have much leeway though. This is a team that doesn't have the best switch-ins in the world, so I kind of have to just go straight for it with a commitment, because the offensive tools are not great. Like the mons that switch in, like it's only really based off of type immunities for the most part, not like resistances. So let's see what they decide to go. I'm curious on who's going to Terra in this matchup, because I might Terra the Miraidon if I can knock out the Kyogre quickly enough, but we'll see. It's going to be the lead of Kyogre and Amoonguss. Okay, that's fine. So I have the Electric Terrain. It's not Scarf Kyogre. I just want to Dazzle Taunt. I think they double protect here. Oh, you can't double protect because of the Urshifu. You kind of have to commit, right? I think I'm going to drop a Draco and I'm just going to taunt the Amoonguss. Yeah, that's fine. They go for Rage Powder, so that's acceptable. I will KO the Amoonguss with Draco. Maybe I should have Surging as well for damage. I do KO the Amoonguss. Okay, so Amoonguss goes down, which is a decent start, I suppose. So we do taunt the Kyogre. Yes, I could have Surging there. Should have probably Surging. I was worried about like some random Terra Fairy Amoonguss. Water Spout gonna come out. Okay. It's not Mystic Water damage, it looks like, so I'm kind of curious on what that Kyogre set is, but that is pretty decent. We're gonna see Incineroar coming? Sure. I have Farigiraf, so I can go for quite a few different plays here. I think I like the idea of just going for Rigraff and clicking Surging into the Kyogre. Yeah, I like big damage in the Kyogre with the Rain Mystic Water. I could get rid of the Incin, but I don't think Incin around is that bad for me because I can threaten like Helping Hand, Play Rough, and a bunch of other factors. So we bring out the Rigraff to stop Fake Out. We see a Terrassalization, so who's going to Terrasalize? This is probably Incin. Yeah, perfect. So now they can't Terra Cali Ice and they can't Terra the Kyogre. So I can Electro Drift freely against their team. So now they are very vulnerable to Electro Drift. I get a Surging Strike to weaken the power of Water Spout. They also didn't Fake Out. It makes sense though, because for Rigraff back was a bit obvious. I get huge damage in the Kyogre. Could have went for Draco Meteor too, but that's a really aggressive play. Origin Pulse makes sense. Graph takes a lot of damage, but that's acceptable. Crit on Urshifu doesn't matter. If they Partner Shot, this is fine, but either way, I'm still in a good spot. U-turn. Okay, I shouldn't KO for Rig. Yeah. Cali Ice, yep. Gonna be an interesting end game. I go Miraidon 100%. I have Helping Hand, Electro Drift. I also have Foul Play into Volt Switch, which is also another play I can make. I feel like I should never allow the Cali to get Trick Room up though. And I can live an attack with Miraidon from the Kyogre if it's not Ice Beam, but Ice Beam is probably a roll on my Miraidon. So I think I'm going to go for Helping Hand, Electro Drift into the Cali. If I get the knockout into Cali, it's a very, very good spot. I couldn't go Zacian here because then it just invites Incineroar for a Mind Game of switching in for Intimidate. So kind of had to go aggressive Miraidon. No Protect, so that's beautiful. I'm able to get the Electro Drift off. Excellent. I KO'd a Cali Ice. Cool. Critical hit. I don't think it was necessary unless it's Assault Vest, but I don't think it is. And they go for Origin Pulse and they miss. They miss a Furgraph, which is actually huge because now they can't Fake Out, so I get a Electro Drift guaranteed. And I think that seals it. Yeah, so unlucky turn, but that is the life of hitting an Origin Pulse. I don't think it's Assault Vest's Cali Ice. Maybe it is, but I'm not 100%. I feel like it's hard to go for it though. We're going to go for Helping Hand. And we're going to go for Electro Drift into the Incin. As well, try to KO the Incin on the off chance Kyogre protects. And they... Well, are you Protect Incin? You're not. Okay. I get Electro Drift. I get the KO. Then I have Stellar Terra in the back with Zacian. I go for Stellar Terra Sacred Sword. And I'll pick up the win. So, beautiful. Goodbye, Incin. Nice. And you can hit both Origin Pulses. It won't change a thing here. Miraidon even survives the Origin Pulse on 1. He even survives it on 1. We go Zacian. We get the attack boost. Sacred Sword, Electro Drift, GG. Yeah, if like they hit the Furgraph, I mean, I still think I win by going for Electro Drift into the Incin slot. And I think I go for Play Rough with Stellar Terra into the Kyogre. I mean, I guess there's like some luck factors which don't make it always 100% because they could like Origin Pulse crit my Zacian, for instance. Like if I double the Kyogre and they protect, then the Incin can do something and that would be bad. But yeah, like it was just really tough for them. I Sacred Sword Electro Drift. I don't have to Terra even, so I just win the game. Perfect. All right, awesome. Awesome. Just was able to put on the offensive momentum. They gave me the KO. That's what Urshifu does. It prevents the double protect option. Like, because normally against Miraidon, you could like scout for like what they lock into. Then you can go for like Fairy Terrestrialization with Amoonguss in a lot of cases. I don't know if it was Fairy Terrestrialization on the Amoonguss, but I think it makes a lot of sense on Kyogre composition. Especially like if you go for that lead, I feel like it screams Fairy Terra. But no Fairy Terra. Was able to get a KO. Could have got Surging Strikes, which would have been better than Taunt. But yeah. Oh, also they couldn't protect because I did go for it. So I guess I could have Volt Switched that slot. but I don't think I want to trick him up ever. So I think KOing the Kali Ice was ideal, and they kind of knew that I could target the Kyra as well, so that's why they didn't protect the Kali Ice. So yeah, it makes more sense. All right, we have Miraidon, Zamazenta, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Chien-Pao, Dragonite. I think I faced this on stream. It's like Scarf on the Miraidon, which is kind of annoying. Okay, what do I want to go here? I don't think I'm bringing Farigiraf. I think I'm bringing Miraidon and the Whimsicott for sure. The rest, I'm not 100%. I want to lead Miraidon plus the Whimsicott potentially. Yeah, I think I do Miraidon Whimsicott. Zacian's weird. It's good against the restricted. I mean, it is good into this build. It's just not good into Dozo. Do I think they're going to lead Chien-Pao Dragonite? I don't think so. I think I just bring the Miraidon. I think I bring Zacian, and I think I bring Ursh or Chiyu back. I think it's Ursh. I think Ursh has an easier time of handling stuff. We'll see. It might have been Chiyu for the Zamazenta. I'm not 100% certain. Also, like, Zama's a bit weird against my team because I don't know if it likes dealing with my team, but we'll see. Then Dozo lead with Miraidon. So this is a classic. If it's Scarf, I mean, it's Scarf Fairy, right? So I think I just go for Tailwind and I go for Draco Meteor immediately into the Miraidon. Yeah. You can't knock out my Miraidon in one shot. Are they going to make the Tatsugiri play? We'll see. But I'm just going to Tailwind and I'm going to go for Draco. It's the safest play. I should KO a Scarf Miraidon with Choice Specs Draco from this Specs Miraidon. And then we'll see how the rest of the game plays out. Also, like, what does the Dozo block into is also going to be a big one. Because Dozo can't threaten both my Pokemon by itself. Like, it just cannot. They switch out the Miraidon, so this is the Tatsu. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Are you EQ or what? Are you EQ or what? I mean, they have to Terra right into grass. And if they Terra to grass, that actually makes my life probably a lot easier in general. We do see the Terrestrialization going to be into the Dozo. Or the grass. Fire Terra type. What? Okay. That's a new one. Wait, I just bring in Ursh and I click Surging. Okay. Sure. Like Draco into the Protect or into the Tatsu. They Wave Crash immediately. Sure. Doesn't. Is that Choice Band? Jeez, that did a lot. Okay, I was about to say that did too much. That did too much. All right. Into Ursh we go. Because Ursh was literally here for the Dozo and that's all we needed. And that's the goal. We'll protect it, preserve our Focus Sash, and then we'll Moonblast Surging. So, could have been better without the crit, but I mean, I think this is still really good offensive position. I think this might come down to endgame. Do I hit the play rough with Zacian though? That's like what I'm seeing right now, but... Or if I hit a Draco Meteor. If I hit one of those two moves, I think I'm in a golden spot, but we'll see. Ursh is just so good here, being able to click Surging Strikes into the Dozo because we forced the Terrestrialization. Although they would have taken a lot from a Volt Switch or Electric, so I guess that's something to note. Bring in the Ursh. Protect the Whims. Is this Earthquake? Is this Order Up? We'll find out. Is Earthquake. Okay. It's probably Earthquake, Order Up. Wave Crash, Protect. I wonder if it's a Assault Vest Dozo with Terrifier, but yeah, we just go for a Moonblast. We go for Surging Strikes. Ursh will outspeed the Dozo. Will we KO the Dozo? I think Mystic Water with the Surging Strikes guaranteeing the crit through the defense boost should always KO. But I mean, you never know. We get a Moonblast off into the Dozo for chip. I think it might be. Oh, I don't know if it's a Soul Vest. That's a resist. Okay, we do get the Surging Strikes KO into Dozo. We didn't even need all three. Goodbye, Dozo. All right. So that is the fish gone, which is pretty good for me. That is pretty good for me. We still have our Sash available. We didn't really lose too much resources. We lost health on Ursh and Miraidon, but Miraidon's still kicking. Is it Zamazenta back? Is it well, Miraidon's coming out here. Just like no doubt Miraidon comes out in my mind. I'm just gonna Moonblast the Tatsu and I'm gonna Aqua Jet the Tatsu. Because if I get rid of the Tatsu, I'm in a good shape, I think. And I'm pretty sure it's Scarf Miraidon. I have no idea like what the speed tier is, but I do think I always go for Aqua Jet Moonblast. What stinks about getting crit with the Miraidon is I might be vulnerable into like Terra Electric, Electro Drift range from where I'm at. And I'm pretty sure I am. So a Miraidon can lock in Electro Drift in the end game and be a really big annoyance. Yeah, I get the Aqua Jet off. Whimsicott gets a Moonblast. I didn't KO Tatsu, which I'm surprised by. We do get a special attack drop. Ult Switch will KO the Ursh, which is cool. We get to reveal the last, which is probably Zama, I'd assume. Could I get this wrong on a couple of reads? Probably. Zama comes in. What does a Tatsu click? Muddy Water. Okay, that's whatever. No accuracy drop is nice. Okay. We go into Zacian. My Terra is kind of useless for the most part. I think my best option, I think it would be to Tailwind. It would be the Tailwind plus Stellar Terra Sacred Sword, I'm pretty sure, the Zamazenta. There's like RNG facts that can, I think, still screw me over. I'm curious if this is the Helping Hand Tatsugiri, because if it's Helping Hand Tatsu, I'm worried if Body Press with Helping Hand can KO Zacian. So I'm just going to go for my Stellar Terra and hope I can get the KO with the Sacred Sword. It should be Scarf on the Miraidon. I guess, is it Solvus Tatsu? Or, I mean, Whimsicott's weak and Tatsu has some decent Spadef, so I could believe it was Moonblast if it has bulk. But we will Terrastalize our Zacian because we don't really need it on our Miraidon anymore. It is Helping Hand, so Helping Hand Sacred Sword is probably the best option here. Okay, perfect. We get the Tailwind off and we get a Sacred Sword. We might have to hit a few Dracos. It's good damage to Zama. Body Press. Sheesh. Sheesh. Alright, we have to hit 2 Dracos. Electric Train disappears, about to reset. I mean, it worked out perfectly for me, I think. Moonblast wasn't KOing the Zamazenta, I'm pretty sure, at that range. So I go for a Moonblast, I go for the Tatsu, I go for Draco Meteor into the Zama. I already Terrastalized, I don't have to worry about Terrastalization. Yeah. I can't lock in the Gleam because of the wide guard option, so I have to land a Draco. I have to land 2. Actually, yeah, I have to land 2. Because of the crit from earlier, they can lock into Electro Drift pretty comfortably. Or Gleam if they... No, it's Scarf. So they shouldn't have it. I mean, if you protect Zama, I think I'm in a better spot to win. Because I can Encore the Zama into Protect and I Draco Mirror Miraidon. And if I just hit that one Draco, I just win the game. Unless they change the team, it's like Scarf Miraidon for some reason. that I can maybe even win out of that one, depending on who they target. So we'll see. But yeah, their Miraidon comes in. We encore the Zamazenta into protect. We go for Draco Meteor, and I think we're in a good spot. They can't terrestrialize in the fairy. Only thing they could have is like some random focus sash, focus band, quick claw, some kind of whack shenanigan on the Miraidon. That's the only way I should be screwed here. But I am in a pretty good spot, I'd say. Encore. The Zamazenta into protect. We landed Draco Meteor. That will KO the Miraidon, and that is good game, because now even if Zamazenta does get an attack off, it cannot. I mean, even if the Zamazenta lives the Draco Meteor, like, it's locked into protect, so it can't do anything. So now I just spam Moonblast Draco, and they can't win. Nice. Nice. I guess they always get the. I always go for Draco into the Zama and I Tailwind. I mean, they're going to forfeit. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm not going to waste my Moonblast power points since it's not like power point up max. But I mean, I should win that anyway, regardless. So, solid. Terrifier Dozo's not something I've seen from the team. I think I played this team multiple times. But I haven't seen the Terrifier Dozo. I'm glad I brought Ursh. For the Chien Pao and the Zama, and it just worked out for the Dozo specifically. All right, we have Calyx, Shadow Rider, Tornadus, Incineroar, the Landers Incarnate form, Zamazenta, and Wellspring Ogerpon. So, there is a Landers Incarnate, which we do have to fear. It's not exactly the easiest mon to handle. They don't really have a great way of dealing with Farigiraf. Farigiraf is actually really hard for their team to beat. Although Landers Incarnate's not an easy mon for me to pressure, I do actually like Urshifu under the Trick Room if possible. It is a little bit difficult to imagine because I'm not exactly sure. They might be forced to bring Wellspring Ogerpon, because if they don't have Wellspring Ogerpon, they do lose to Urshifu. But at the same time, like, Wellspring Ogerpon's pretty, like, meh against my team. I guess, like, Chiyu's a mon they need an answer to. I feel like they always bring Landers and Torn, though. Maybe they don't bring both restricted. It's a tough one to call here. I think I'm just going to lead my Farigiraf and my Miraidon immediately. And then in the back, I think I'm going to go with Chiyu, and I'm going to go with Zacian. Even though Chiyu is really good against their team, it's kind of hard to position, as I just realized I had my water bottle in my frame. But yeah, I just think that it's a little bit difficult to actually position the... Oh, what's it called? And low battery. Okay. I will find my charger after this battle. Okay, so we see the Zamazenta and the Incineroar versus my Miraidon and Farigiraf. So this is actually a pretty interesting turn because there's a lot of ways that this could go on, because we confirmed that I'm faster with my Miraidon than their Zamazenta, which is not too surprising, but I do get a Helping Hand KO if I want to. Helping Hand plus a Electro Drift can pretty much get a KO on anything here. So I am debating about going for that KO. I'm just wondering if there's like maybe, oh, there's a Landers Incarnate, maybe a Protect. I could go for Helping Hand Draco Meteor supposedly here. I could just go for a Trickerman Draco immediately. I have a lot of options, so I can go for Helping Hand plus the Electro Drift, which I am debating about. And I am considering it, going for the Incineroar, because if I get rid of the Intimidate, that'd be really nice. Or I could go for Helping Hand Volt Switch, which also isn't bad. Because Miraidon damage output is nice. You know what? I am going to Helping Hand Volt Switch. That should KO the Incineroar, even if it's Assault Vest. We see a Terrestrialization, so I imagine this is Zamazenta, which is actually pretty good to scout for. Yep. Into Grass. Yep, Grass makes sense. Because they needed a type that's able to resist. I almost debated about going for a Hard Read, but I didn't think it was necessary because I didn't know what the Terrestrialization was. I thought it could be Dragon, but... Let's see, I do get a Helping Hand here and a Volt Switch into Incineroar, which should pick up a knockout, which is beautiful. Oh, that doesn't pick up a knockout. Wow, that is less damage than I thought. Okay. Who do I not need in this matchup? I could go Ursh or I could go Zacian. Zacian was like the mon I needed the least in this matchup. So I think I'm going to go Zacian. Zacian was the mon I didn't really need that much in this matchup, so I'm willing to bring Zacian in, but okay, maybe I should have just went for Electro Drift, but I still think that this is okay. We take a body press, which is cool, and a parting shot? No, they knock off. Okay, no, so Zacian was correct here. Okay. I mean, Ursh would have taken that, but I mean, this is still pretty decent here. I like the idea of... got a few plays that I do have access to. I am debating about maybe going for Trick Room here. The Zamazenta is a little bit of a pain to deal with, but I think in the most case, I should be able to go for a Trick Room here. But I just don't know if it's Wellspring in the back. If it's Landers, that's fine. If it's Wellspring, it's weird. I like the idea of going for a Trick Room. And Behemoth Blade into the Incineroar. So they give me the Incineroar, makes sense. I went for Behemoth Blade to cover any switches if necessary. The only thing I could have maybe done was play rough into Wellspring Ogerpon if they did have in the back, but wasn't sure if they would risk Wellspring taking a bunch of damage. They go for Body Press, sorry to Farig in case I go for Protect. I actually take that extremely well. Like, I thought I was taking that a lot worse than I thought, but I am able to get the Trick Room up. So I don't know if they brought Shadow Rider or not, but we're going to see the Landers come out, which is absolutely fine here. I don't mind Landers coming in, and now I get to go for a Psychic Noise into the Zamazenta, and I'm just going to go for a Sacred Sword into the Zamazenta as well. Or should I just Protect so I preserve numbers? I think preserve numbers is not bad. Yeah. I don't want to go down to Miraidon plus the Ursh immediately, I think. So we will protect our Zacian here. As I hope that they might double up my Farig. That would actually be nice for me, but we'll see. I do get Psychic Noise Chip into the Zamazenta. It won't be able to heal, but it shouldn't matter. Her power comes out into Farig. I hope that knocks out. Beautiful. Okay. I actually want them to knock out Farig because I want a free switch into the Urshifu so I can go for Surging Strikes into this Landers. And again, I don't know if they have Wellspring back. That's the only problem. If it's Wellspring back, we'll have to find out, but I am bringing out my Ursh here. I am just going to drop a Surging Strikes, and I'm going to go for a Play Rough into the Landers in case it is a Wellspring switch and they don't respect my Zacian. Okay. So this is... If it's Shadow Rider back, I'm feeling pretty good because Surging Strikes will be able to blow up the left slot of the field. But if it's Wellspring, it's going to be kind of confusing here. I'm not sure if they brought it because they don't have to respect Urshifu as much, I think. But, okay, so my Ursh is faster. I am able to get the Surging Strikes off and KO to Landers. That is a massive KO into Landers. So, really solid. I imagine they don't have Wellspring then because they would have definitely switched it in if so. And I didn't think they would bring it, but because I thought Shadow Rider was probably back at this point. But yeah, Body Press going to come out on Ursh. Does a good amount of damage, not enough, as we do get the Play Rough into the Zamazenta for some decent damage. Okay, nice. And then this should be Shadow Rider back. Yep. Okay. I have no reason to Terrasilize at all. I just go for a double up into the Shadow Rider with a Terra Water Surging Strikes and a Behemoth Blade into the Calyx. They need to be really bulky Calyx in order to survive this hit. And if they do, then the Zamazenta has to go for an attack into my Zacian. Otherwise, unless the Shadow Rider is slow on this team for some reason, I should be able to get Surging Strikes into Behemoth Blade into the Shadow Rider. So they do go for Protect, which makes sense because they're probably tarring down the Ursh here, I'd imagine, as I do get the Surging Strikes off into the Shadow Rider. As, yeah, we're going to be able to KO, unless it's some random berry, but I highly doubt it. Surging Strikes is going to come out into the Shadow Rider, pick up the knock on the Shadow Rider, and now the Zamazenta will be hit by the Behemoth Blade. They're going to go for probably Body Press into Urshifu because that was probably their out. They were hoping I wasn't going to Terrasilize. They'd be able to survive the Surging Strikes, and then afterward, they'd be able to go for Body Press into the Zamazenta, into my Zacian, and probably try to draw off an Astral Barrage, but this worked out perfectly as Urshifu under Trick Room ended up being the right call. I guess I could have also done this under Tailwind, but I think Farig was still a nice bring because they couldn't go for Fake Out immediately, and the fact that it was just able to stick around for a turn, get some chip damage, was actually not terrible. We do get to go out into Miraidon, and now we just win the game because we can go for Electro Drift into a Sacred Sword, and we guarantee win here. Or I could Behemoth Blade. There's like so much I could do here at this point, but Zamazenta by itself at that low HP when the Trick Room's over will basically can't win this game. So nice. We were able to take a really good offensive position. I could have brought Chiyu, but it wasn't necessary. Although Chiyu would have been pretty good here actually, because I got rid of the Incineroar pretty early. If I had Chiyu in the back and didn't go for a Trick Room, like if I just went for Electro Drift KO the Inc in turn 1, it would have actually been pretty bad for them. I think they would have lost to a Chiyu at that point, but maybe I should have considered it. But there were, I think, a lot of different routes that I could have handled. Again, did they bring Wellspring Ogerpon? Did they not? When they saw Landis, I'm pretty sure they had to bring the Calyx because I think they needed Mons faster than my Miraidon at least, and my Zacian, and I was correct on that at least. All right, let's go over to games. In game 1, dodging the Heat Wave into getting crit on the next one is a vibe, but was able to just build up a lot of damage while my opponent had a hard time dealing with the Chiyu next to the Encore Terraghost Whimsicott, and I was able to always have some way to deny the Calyx Shadow from being able to reverse sweep my team. In game 2, I do not like this Groudon matchup, but a nice crit helped to break through the Incineroar and my Zacian, no longer having to worry about any Intimidates while connecting the crucial play rough into their Miraidon to seal up the win. In game 3, really ideal game as I was able to see what my opponent's game plan was and make the right play accordingly with my Chiyu and the Protect on the Whimsicott there, which was absolutely huge because if I did go down to that Aqua Jet Astral Barrage, the game could have gotten a bit spooky. In game 4, needed to make a bit more aggressive plays against a hold. I was likely to switch, but didn't think it would be Iron Valiant back. But the pressure of Encore and the Iron Defense Zamazenta made things very difficult. In game 5, wish I went for Surging Strikes instead of the Taunt turn 1 because I would have gotten huge amounts of damage to Kyogre and taken less damage in response, but was able to overwhelm my opponent's slow Mons with heavy fast damage output. In game 6, Terrifier Dundozo. Okay, but I was able to remove it using Urshifu and just push the advantage from the great start because I was just able to get knockouts. In game 7, was able to get Trick Room up, and even with the failed knockout start onto their Incineroar, my Urshifu was still able to dominate the left slot of the field and get every single knockout with the Terra Water Surging Strikes. So how was the team? I think the team is pretty strong. Of course, it is more of a hyper offensive team nature with the Zacian and Miraidon. They do have good general natural bulk, however, so they are able to usually take one hit, but a lot of this team is very read heavy as you do have a lot of damage output, especially with the Choice Mix Miraidon, the Zacian, and then you have ways to be able to just stop any shenanigans from your opponent, such as the Armor Tail on the Farigiraf, the Encore on the Whimsicott, Taunt on the Urshifu, and the Scarf Chiyu can put in a lot of pressure, especially against Calyx Shadow Rider and Zamazenta Chorus, which can help out this team immensely. If you'd like to try out the team, the rental code is on the screen. Hopefully it's still available by the time the video comes out. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.